Before heading to the video, if you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe it and don't forget to click the bell icon for the latest update notification. If you like the video, do like, comment and share. Stay tuned with learnbay.co. Happy learning!
We are going to learn the loop now. Now, why we need loop? Loop, so let's say if you have a block of statement which you want to execute several times, okay, for a multiple times. Okay, what we have seen in the last class that we were learning the flow control. So let's say if you will talk about a simple program, then it will do the sequential execution. First it will execute first line, second line, third line, fourth line. If you don't have this if statement, then it will directly print A, B and C, right? If else statement you don't have, it will directly print this. But I want to control this block of statement. Then I have used the control flow here. I have used if. Similarly, loops are also used for the flow control. Let's say inside this I want to print this two statement 5 times. Okay, based on this condition I want to print this statement 5 times. Then if you want to print 5 times, then one option is there, you can copy and paste this two statement 5 times. But that is not a good option, because see, first thing, you never write the code for yourself. You always write the code for others, those who are coming in place of you when you will leave the organization. So they should be able to understand it, and the code should not be so lengthy, so that people will lose the what do you say, patience in debugging the code. So you should not write lengthy code, and you should also avoid rewriting of the code. The whole programming is about avoiding the rewriting of the code. We came to from sequential programming, we came to functional programming. Why? We wanted to avoid the rewriting of the code. From functional programming we came to the object oriented programming. Why? Because there was a major reason, we wanted to avoid the rewriting of the code. So rewriting is a crime in programming world. Okay, you should not rewrite the code at all. Okay, now here what I said, I want to execute these two statement 5 times. So one option, you can copy and paste it 5 times, that is fine, but that is again you are rewriting the code. You should not do that. So for, if you think that okay, few block of statement is going to execute several times, then probably you can go for a loop. Okay, because loop is what? Loop means it will run based on some condition, based on some values, till that condition is getting false or till that value is getting exhausted. Now we have seen that there are basically two kinds of loop. One is for loop. Okay, one is for loop. When we use for loop, so the first condition of using the for loop, if you want to do the operation on every element of the sequence, okay, then you run the for loop over that sequence. Okay, if you want to do the operation on every element of the sequence, then you run the for loop over that sequence. This is one condition. Second condition, let's say if you want to do the operation on every element, okay, but not every element, alternate element, or you want to access it based on some indexes and all. Okay, let's say you want to access all the element of a string based on the index. Okay, based on the index, so you can use for loop. Okay, index based operation, if you want to do index based operation, if you want to do, then you will use for loop. The third one is, if you know in advance that how many times you want to execute a block of code. If you already know in advance that how many times you want to execute a block of code, then also you go for the for loop. Okay, now let's see the example of all these three things. So let's come to the first one. If you want to do the operation on every element, for example, I have a string a is equal to Python. Okay, a is equal to Python. What my requirement is, I want to pick one element at a time from this string, and I want to repeat it by the number of times with respect to the index plus 1. Okay, I will explain it what exactly it is. For example, P is at 0 index, so I want to repeat it by 1 time. Y is at 1 index, I want to repeat it by 2 times. T is at 2 index, I want to repeat T by 3 times. Okay, so basically my output will look like this: P, then Y, then T, then H, then O, and then N, right? You got this? What I'm trying to do here?
Yes.
Correct. So what is the option? One option you have, you can directly write print P, print YY, print TTT, print HHH, print OOO, and print NNN. Okay, this is one option, but you are repeating print, like, let's say, okay, so you know that 6 times you are doing, but let's say if you have 100 characters, 1000 characters, million characters, you cannot go ahead and do like that. Okay, so in this case we need a loop. We will try to do this operation using loop. So this is the output. We will cross verify it at the end. So how we can do this? So first of all, since we want to do the operation on every element, isn't it? What I will do, I will write for I in A. Okay, for I in A. This is the syntax. What is the syntax of for loop? Okay, so let's see the syntax of for loop. So the syntax of for loop is, you write for, okay, you take one variable, okay. Hello, anyone is saying something?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so you need to take one variable. This is a variable name. Okay, we have seen that you can take anything in the variable name. You can take your name, doesn't matter. You can take your country name, your locality name, your city name, anything you can take, doesn't matter. Here you have to take one variable name. Variable name can be anything. Now after that you have to write in. Okay, now if you remember, in operator always works in the case of sequence or dictionary and set. Okay, in operator always works in the case of dictionary and set. So here you have to pass a sequence or dictionary or set. So as of now we are working on the string, so I will pass. So as of now I will write it a sequence. Okay, you have to take one sequence. Okay, and at the end you have to put a colon. After writing the colon, the block of statement you want to execute. Let's say you have 3 statements: statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. These 3 statements you want to execute inside the for loop. Then you will write all these 3 statements at the same indentation level after the for loop, inside the for loop, because you want all these 3 statements to be executed if this for loop is running. Okay, let's say after this you want statement 4 also to be executed, so you cannot write statement 4 here, because if you want this to be executed inside the for loop, then you should write statement 4 here. Okay, now after this you want statement 5 to be executed outside. You don't want to be executed inside the for loop, then you will write at the same level of for loop statement 5. Okay, so this is the syntax of for loop. Now let's come to the code.
So Abhishek, I have a doubt here.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually you tell after in we can pass any dictionary or string.
Yes.
So in for loop also we can pass any dictionary.
For loop only, no? For loop only I am discussing.
So if you are passing any dictionary, then which one it will be considered? It's that key value it will consider, or only values it will consider?
Key.
Only key it will consider, right?
Yes. Key it will consider. If you want to access the value, you have to use that indexing part. Like you have to write the dictionary name, and inside the square bracket, you have to pass that variable name. It will give you the value.
Okay, means variable name or that index value?
Yes, this I.
Oh, okay. If we give the I, then it will give the values.
Value, associated value with that key.
Okay. If we want key only then?
If you want key only,
Only,
then
only
print
keys of
I,
the dictionary.
print I only.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So now what we want to do, I in A. Okay, so before coming to this, I need to explain one more thing. Let's say, for example, you have A is equal to Python. How a for loop runs, we need to understand, right? So let's say if I'm writing this code, I'm trying to access P multiply P by 1, Y by 2, then T by 3, and so on, right? So what I need to do, I need to access one element at a time, and then I need to do the operation on that, right? So I need to access one element. What I will do for that, I will write one for loop for I in A. When you write I in A, for I in A, so in this case, what happens? Internally, I will go to this A. First, it will check what is this A. If it is not a sequence, it will give you the error. Let's say A you have written as 10, then it will give you the error that A is not a sequence type. It will give you error. You need to take one sequence type here. Since we have taken one sequence type, which is a string, so it will run. For I in A, when it will run this loop, it will run how many times? The number of elements are there. Until and unless all the elements are exhausted inside this sequence, this loop will run. Okay. So in the first run, I will go inside this sequence and I will become what? I will become P. Okay. Now, what operation I want to do? I want to do the operation print P into one time, right? So I into, I want to write what time? One time. But remember one thing, that see here P, the index of P is 0, it means, and Y is 1. So if P is 0, it means multiply it by 1. Y is 1 means multiply it by 2. So basically it is multiplying 1 more than that the index. So I will take one variable, let's say J is equal to 1. Okay. And I will multiply by J. Okay. And after multiplying by J, I will increment the J. J equal to J plus 1 I will write. Okay. So what is happening? Just try to understand. When this loop will run for the first time, I will become what? P. J is what? Previously 1. Now print I into J means P into 1. Correct? So output will be what? P. Output P is printed. Okay. Then it will come to this line. When it will execute this line, J is equal to what? 1. What I told, I think in the initial classes, if everyone has attended, first the right hand side expression will get evaluated, right? So first this will get evaluated. What is the value of J? J value is 1 plus 1, 2. So this 2 will get assigned to J. Now J will become what? 2. After printing P, J has become 2. Clear? Everyone is clear on this, what we did here?
Please explain once
Yes.
again.
Okay. So this code you have, see, you don't have to understand the code. Here we are not understanding the logic. Basically, we are learning that how we can run the loop. Okay. So when you want to run the loop, everyone, those who are new to the programming, what I'm expecting you to do is, whenever you run the loop, you do one thing, you go home and means whenever you are running this, you go and create a table. Okay. You go here and write first what all variable you have. You have I, which will be incremented every time, or the value of I will be changing every time. Then you will be having J, and then you will be having one output. Correct? These three things will be changing on a regular basis. Now run this loop. Till what time it will run the loop? So first time I is becoming Python, second time I will become Y, third time I will become T, fourth time I will become H. So every time I is changing, and it will run, this loop will run till when this last element will be taken. Once last element will be taken, after that there is no element after this, so it will stop the loop. Automatically it will stop the loop. Okay. I have taken J as 1. In the first iteration, I will become what? I will come inside this sequence A. A is what? Python. So first element it will take from here. Automatically it will take always first element. Okay. So I will become P. Okay. Now output will be P into 1. So it will be P. Correct? Fine. So this line has been printed. Print I into J, P has been printed. Now it will come to this line. Okay. When it will come to this line, first it will execute the right hand side expression J plus 1. What is the value of J as of now? It is 1. Okay. Plus 1, 2. This has become 2. So now the new value of J has become 2. So before going to the next iteration, J has become what? 2. Okay. And when it will come to the next iteration, I again, so once this is executed, there is no line after this, so it will come back in the loop. Loop is for that. It will keep on coming back in the loop till all the elements are exhausted. So now I will become what? Since P is already taken, it will take Y now. It will take automatically the next element. It will take Y. Okay. And J is 2. So it will execute this line I into J. What is I into J? Y into 2 means it will print Y 2 times. Okay. Once this is executed, it will come to this line. J, as of now, J is what? 2 and plus 1, 3. So the new value of J has been allocated to J. The new value of 3 has allocated to J. So before coming to this loop, J has become what? 3, isn't it? Now come back to this loop, because after this J statement, you don't have anything to execute. It will come back to this loop. I will become what? Y is already taken. Now I will become T, right? So now multiply. So it will come to this. After taking T, it will come to this print statement. I into J. What is I? T. J 3. So multiply it 3 times and print it. After executing this, it will come to this. J is as of now 3 plus 1, 4. So J, the new value of J is 4. Okay. From here again, come back to this. I will be what? H. Correct. So I has become H. Now H into 4. This statement will be executed. So print H 4 times. Okay. After executing this statement, come to this. 4 plus 1, 5. So new value of J is what? 5. So new value of J is 5. Come back to this for loop again. I is now O. So write here O. O into 5, print O 5 times. 5 times. Okay. And then execute this statement. J will be now what? J is 5 plus 1, 6. New value of J is 6. 6 is written here. Now come back to the loop. I will become what? Last element N. So N into 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times printed. Once it is done, it will come here, it will increment J. J has now become 7. Okay. And after this, it will come back to this loop. But after N, there is no such element. So it will come out of the loop. It will not execute anything. Clear? How it is executed?
Yes, clear.
Yes, clear.
One more thing. Can I replace I character with some other like X, Y, something else? Or I have to
you
write
can
only?
take anything. These all are just variable. You can take anything.
Yeah, I is a variable you can declare.
Okay. Another one thing. After A, you have written colon. What that indicates colon?
Indicates tells that after this, you are starting a block of statement which will be inside for loop. Okay. So wherever, let's say if you are writing if statement, so after writing if statement condition, you write a colon. After writing for statement, you write a colon. After writing while statement, you write a colon. Okay. So whenever you are going to make a block of statement, in coming classes, you will see that you are putting a colon. When you are putting a colon means you are going to execute a block of statement under this for loop or under this while loop or under this if statement or under this function or class, anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Abhishek, I always getting a doubt. Below A, you write a variable, right? J is equal to 1.
J is equal to J plus 1.
No, not this one. In the top.
Second
Yeah.
line.
Yes.
Yeah, J is equal to 1.
Yes.
In loop, every time we have to mention a variable and it is equal to 1, or you can change the value.
No, see, I have kept it out. What is your question? Whether I have to mention this J is equal to 1 inside the loop or outside the loop? This is your question. Or every time whenever you write the for loop, you have to take J is equal to 1. It is mandatory. Which question?
Yeah. Is it mandatory to put
No. See,
1?
this all things
Depend upon the situation.
logic. This all things depends on the logic. Okay. My requirement was I wanted to multiply every element of this string with a number one more than the index of that element, right? So I took one number J is equal to 1 and then I'm incrementing it. So it all depends on the logic. When you will keep on writing the program, no? So after, I think after function or after 1 month or 2 months of programming, you will find that why you are writing all this thing and when to use, when to write all these things, you will come to know at that time. Initially, you need to do the practice. That's it. That's what I can say as of now.
Okay.
This depends on the logic. It is not a rule. It is a logic. Okay.
Sir, for loop, it increment automatically. First it execute P, then automatically it goes to Y, then H, it will take automatically, like in for loop.
Yeah, in for loop, in the case of Python, in the for loop, I think if you know something about other programming language, Java or C.
No, C I know, but for Java is
No,
not.
right? So in C, you might have learned that there you have to do the increment, and then you have to check the condition, and then you have to initialize it, right? Initialization, condition checking, and incrementation or decrementation is important, right? Here, in the case of for loop, these all things are not required. In the case of while loop, it is required, but in the case of for loop, it is not required. Automatically, it will go and pick the value from the sequence. You don't have to increment it. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Like A, I in A.
Yes. So I in A, when you are doing, so I will go inside A and it will pick one element at a time for every iteration.
Okay. For every iteration. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Fine, sir.
Okay. Okay. So let me implement this for I in A. What I was doing, print I into J and J equal to J plus 1. And I need to initialize J also. So J equal to 1. Okay. Now let's run this. So you are getting the output. Clear? Everyone?
Yes.
Yes, Abhishek.
Okay. So this was the, so what we wanted to do, we wanted to do the operation on every element. So we wrote it like this for I in A, because we want one element so that I can multiply that element with a number, right? So first thing is clear. Now come to the index based operation. When you want to do the index based operation, then how you can use the for loop. For example, I want to do the same operation, same thing I want to print, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to access every element directly. I want to access it using index. Okay. I want to access it using what? Index. How I can do that? So I know index always starts from 0. I will take one string A is equal to Python. I want to do the same operation, remember. So A is equal to Python. I will run a for loop for I in range. Okay. I want to create this indexes starting from 0 till 1 less than the length of this sequence. What I should write here in the range? Can anyone tell me?
Yeah, we can start from 0, and to get the length of the string, we can use the length method.
Length
Like
of?
len, inside that length method, inside that length
Length of A,
method,
right?
we can pass the A.
Length of A.
Yeah.
Correct. Now,
Yeah.
if you will not
Minus
write
1.
0, automatically it will take from 0, right? So you can directly mention
Yeah.
length of
So
A also.
here we have to pass length minus 1 actually.
Length minus 1.
Minus 1.
No. Why you want to length minus
No,
1?
no, from 0 it will start and it will go till length, right? So
Yeah, it will
for
go
that
till
one,
length. So automatically
length
it will
minus 1.
take one less than that.
Yeah, less than 1.
Okay. Now, so this is done. So what this is going to create, this is going to create, we saw earlier, right? It was creating the value from 0 till the length of this, right? So length of this is what? 6, means till 5 it will create. So what values it will create? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Till 5 it will create from 0 to 5. Okay. Now, so I have got the index of every element of this sequence. How I can do that? So I wanted to print what? A of I, correct? First time I will be 0. So if I is 0, A of I 0, A of I means A of 0 will give you what? P. Then next time I will be 1. So A of 1 will give you what? Y. Next time I will be 2. So what? A of 2 will be giving you what? T, and so on, right? But now my requirement is I want to multiply it by 1 more than the index of that particular element. So can I multiply it using this I into I plus 1? Now let's run this code. Okay, so we will do it manually. First come to this paint. Okay, okay. So I will take one table. Okay. So what are things I want? I want, first of all, I want what will be the I. Okay. Before that, tell me what this range of length of A will create. If I am writing range of length of A, tell me what is the range of length of A. Length of A is 6, right? I can write range of 6. Range of 6 means what it will create? It will create a sequence. Internally, see, when you will print range of 6, it will give you range 0 to 6. Okay. 0 to 6, but internally it is a sequence. It is not generating all these values. Okay, it will generate when you are running the loop. So internally it will take one value from here. So first it will take 0, then it will take 1, 2, 3. It is a sequence, right? So it is basically generating the value from 0 to 6 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These all values it is generating. So when you are running the for loop on this range sequence, I will go inside this, and first time it will take 0. So I need first one is I. Okay, what will be the value of I at different stage? Then I need A of I, correct? And then I need output. These are all things I want. So in the first iteration, tell me what will be the value of I? Since it is starting from 0, so I will be 0, right? A of 0 will be what? P, correct? So tell me what will be the output? A of 0 means P into I plus 1 means 0 plus 1 is what? 1. P into 1 is what? What? P only. Clear? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, next time I will go inside this for loop. I will become what? Next element. After 0, we have 1. So I has become 1. So A of 1 will give me what? Y. So Y into I plus 1. I is what? 1. I as of now it is 1. 1 plus 1, 2 means Y into 2. So it will multiply Y by 2. And so on. So you go and this time I will become 2. And A of 2 will give me what? T. Right? So T into 2 plus 1, 3. So it will print T 3 times. I is 3. Now A of 3 will be what? H. Right? So H into 3 plus 1, 4 times. So H will print 4 times. Clear? All these things still ON. Everything it will print. Okay. So let's see this. Let's run this. Okay. You are getting the output?
Yes.
Anyone having any question here? Anyone?
No.
No question.
Is it possible to debug what you will get in PyCharm?
PyCharm, you can do that, or I can recommend you a better one. 1 minute. Go to this website, okay? pythontutor.com. Okay, go to this website. Okay, open this, go to this Python tutor. This is 3.6. It is fine. Go to the code, copy this code, Control C, come to this, paste it here. Okay, now you visualize it. Go and visualize it. So when you will visualize it, you will see the objects are getting created on here. Output you will get in this screen, and objects will be created here. Okay, so let's see that how we are doing. First of all, wherever you can see this red means you are going to execute this line. You have not executed, you are going to execute this line. Okay, so we have executed first line. First line, A is equal to Python is created. You can see one A variable is there and Python is stored in that. Okay, when you will do next, then one I is equal to 0 is created, and then it will execute this code. Next, AI into I plus 1, it is printing P, correct? Fine. Now when you will do again next, so I will be 1. So when I is 1, you can do all this calculation on your own using pen and paper. I is 1 means A of 1 is what? Y. And I plus 1 is what? 1 plus 1, 2. So Y into 2, 2 times Y. It will print 2 times Y. Then again you will run next time I has become 2, right? So you can see this red line is coming now here. So A of 2 is what? T. and 2 plus 1 is 3. T, it will print 3 times. It is T 3 times. Then again we are coming to second line, means we are going to execute this second line. So when you will press next, I will become 3 here. So I is 3 means A of 3 is what? H, and 3 plus 1 is what? 4. So H 4 times, and so on. Clear? You can use this. Or I have asked to download Thorny editor, and I have showed you also there that how you can debug the code there. That is also a good way to visualize the code. And try to learn this way or this way, any other.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Actually, Abhishek, I'm not clear what it means debugging the code. Really, I don't have any idea.
See, basically debugging the code means, let's say if you have some problem in your code, okay, so debugging means if you have any bug or any problem in the code, so you go and you debug it. Actually you see, you run the code line by line and you see that where exactly the error is getting. Okay, so basically you can say it is rectifying the code. In simple way you can say rectifying the code. Okay, but how you will identify that where exactly the error is? Let's say all the output are fine, but oh, you are getting only one time. Then where exactly the error is? Why I am getting rest all are fine, why I am getting oh only one time? So you will go and you will debug this code line by line, and you will see that how the values are getting generated and how this the values are getting printed. Okay, so if you will find any mismatch, then you will go ahead and make the changes into that.
Okay, thank you, Abhishek.
Anything else? Anything else? Anyone having a question?
Abhishek, what are the things you taught us today? It is clear for me.
Okay.
But I have few questions, in job perspective. We are learning in Python Jupyter Notebook. When it comes to real-time work, in job, we are using the Jupyter Notebook or Python?
No. Python, see, these all are editors. It is not about Jupyter Notebook or Python editor, IDLE or PyCharm. Most of the organization, they use Visual Studio or PyCharm or what do you say, Atom editor. Like in my case, I am a web developer, so I use only Atom editor and PyCharm. Okay, so in my past companies, I have used Visual Studio also. So it's, you don't have to bother a lot about the what do you say, editors, code editors. You just have to understand the concept. Once you will understand it, you can run it in any editor. Now when it comes to Jupyter and data science related thing, so Jupyter will be a good thing. Okay, because when you install Jupyter, actually you install Anaconda and lots of packages comes in built with it. So in the real time also, I hope guys use Jupyter only, or some companies might be having their internal IDs.
Okay, thank you, Abhishek.
Hi, Abhishek.
Yes.
Actually, just now you saw one website to debug the code. So,
Uh-huh.
if we in real time we have some thousands of codes, and then it will be very difficult to debug there, right?
Correct. So for that, you have the different editors like PyCharm or Eclipse, or I have shown you the Thorny editor. Even see here in this one, you will not be able to do the file handling operations or classes and objects operation. Okay, this is not so useful. So instead of doing that, you can go for the Thorny editor, which I have showed you. That is a good one.
Can you show me once, Abhishek, Thorny editor?
1 minute. You can download it online. You can just type THONNY, and for respective operating system, you can download it. So this is one. I'm opening it. Give me 1 minute. Anyone having any question apart from all this thing related to today's topic? This is the Thorny editor. Okay, so I'm going to open one code and I will show you how it works. I need to write it. Okay, 1 minute. Or 1 minute. I will just copy and paste that code. The noise is cleared. You can unmute me if you want. Okay, okay. No, I don't want anyone to unmute unless it is disturbing the class. It is fine. Control V, Control S. Yeah. So if you want to debug this, here you can use the debugger. Okay. But when you are installing this Thonny first time, so you have to do something. You can go to View and you can open this heap, and then you can open this variables. It will show you that where all these objects are getting created one by one on the right hand side. The objects and the variables which are getting created will be here. So if you want to debug this, you need to click on this debug current script. Okay. So you debug this, click on this. So this yellow line will come. Now wherever this yellow line means, you are going to execute that particular part of the code. So as of now, we are into the first line. And when you want to go to the next step, you will press on this step into. Okay. So when you will press on this, it will come to this, means you are going to execute. So what I said, that in any expression, first the right hand side expression gets executed, right? So first you are executing this one. So once you will again click on this, you will see that Python is created in the heap area and it is having one ID. And again, once you will click into this, so one A variable is created and it is having the same ID as this. So A is now pointing to Python. Now I'm going again inside this for loop. So first this range object will be created inside the memory. So first this 6 is created. Okay, then this range object will be created. Then this I will go inside this range and I will have value 0. Okay, so I is having, you can say I is having 480, 480 is 0. You can map these values like this, and then you will go inside this, it will execute this. First it will try to find A of I, means A of I means A is what, this A is what, this 80, I is what, 480. So it will place 480 in place of I. Okay, so it is basically trying to find A of I. So what is A? This index. What is I? This index. So at this index, what is the value? P. It will execute, it will create P. Okay, it has created P. You can see here P, save F80. Then it will come to this I plus 1. So I is 1, I is 0. So first I index will be taken and then one value will be created. One is created, you can see 490. These two values will be created and this will be 1, right? So you can see 490 is 1, and then it will multiply it by 1 time and then it will print the whole value P. You can see the output P. Okay, P is created. Similarly for Y, T, H, O, N, all these values will be created. Okay, so you have to do it step by step to debug it in the Thonny editor. This is more clear, I hope.